I met Inez at a shelter in the seaside town of Vlora, Albania. With a meek voice and downturned eyes, she told me the following story, which spanned from 1995 to 2003. I was walking to my aunt's house for ironing work when I was kidnapped by 3 men. They closed my eyes, gagged my mouth, and threw me in a car. They said if I try to escape, they will kill me. They drove 1 full day to Girokastra, and we went to a hotel. 1 man stayed in the hotel with me. He raped me for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, we went to Greece in a taxi. He paid money at the border, and the guard let us through. From a village in Greece, we took a bus to Corinth. In Corinth, this man took me to a bar where I saw women in sex work. I tried to protest, but the man in the bar took me to the bathroom and raped me one after another until I went unconscious. I worked in that bar for 4 months. Most of the men were very cruel. They shouted at me and would beat me if I did not please them. Whatever they wanted to do, I could not say no, or the pimp would torture me. If I was sick or bleeding or in too much pain, I still had to work. I hated this work. I thought, God cannot keep me here forever, and one day I will be free. After 2 years, the pimp took us shopping. I saw a policeman and ran to him. I told him what happened to me, and he took me to the police station. The police put me in a detention cell for 17 days. After this, they deported me to the Kakavija border point. I did not have money, and I told the border guard what happened and asked him to call my father. The border guard took pity on me, and the next day my father came for me. When I arrived home, my father did not believe me. He said I chose this work, and he denounced me. I had to leave my home. I felt so sad I cried for days, and I wanted to take my life. I slept on the streets 1 week when a man in our village that I had known from my childhood promised to help me find work. I was very cold and hungry, so I went with this man. He took me to Vlora, and very late at night, he sent me with other girls on a speedboat to Italy. He promised me these men would help me find work. When we came to Italy, the men drove us to Torino. They told us we will work in a hotel as cleaning ladies, but in Torino, they took me into an apartment and raped me. They made me take clients in that apartment, then a second apartment. After the second apartment, they took me to Belgium for 3 months. Then they took me back to Italy to Firenze. In Firenze, they left me with a very bad pimp who beat me every day. This is how I got the scar on my forehead. She points to a long gash across her forehead. Sometimes he would beat me until I fainted. I thought this man might kill me, so I tried to escape. But he caught me on the streets and pulled out one of my teeth for punishment. She points to the missing tooth. After Firenze, they sent me to Amsterdam. In Amsterdam, I worked in a closed brothel for 8 months. One day, there was a police raid, and they seized the girls because we had false documents. The police put me in detention for 2 months. When they let me go, the same Albanian men who took me from Vlora to Italy were waiting outside the police station. I tried to run back to the police, but they forced me to go with these men. The Albanian men took me to Utrecht and made me work in another closed brothel. At this time, I became pregnant. One of the Albanian pimps said I would have this baby for him, and he said he would send me back to the brothel. I did not want to give this man my baby, so I ran to nuns who have a shelter for abused women. I stayed in the shelter until my son was born, and the nuns helped me get documents. I returned to Albania on January 22nd, 2003. I went back to my family home and showed them my son, but my father shunned me again. Every day I try to forget what I have suffered, but the faces of these men come in my sleep.